It is midnight in Eastern Africa. And 11 p.m. in Southern Africa. In Nigeria, it is 10 p.m. Our top stories tonight. President Tinubu reduces travel expenses by 60%. President Tinubu summons Interior Minister Tunji Ojo fingered in palliative fund scandal. Federal government orders probe of Nigerian private universities. Thank you for joining us. I'm Felicity Ezewuike. Let's begin by telling you that Nigeria's Minister of Humanitarian Affairs has appeared before the nation's anti-graft agency, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The minister, who has been suspended by President Bola Tinubu following allegations of diverting about 585 million naira, thereby breaching civil service rules. Some Nigerians who spoke to News Central Television in Abuja have commended the action by the government and called for an extension of the ongoing investigation to other agencies. Our correspondent, Idong Joseph, reports.
In the last few days, Nigeria's social media space has been flooded with reactions over the payment of about 585 million naira into a private account, in breach of laid-down fiscal rules by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. While the action contravenes Chapter 7, Section 713 of the Nation's Financial Regulation Act of 2009, I quote, "Personal money shall in no circumstances be paid into a government bank account, nor shall any public money be paid into a private bank account. An officer who pays public money into a private account is deemed to have done so with fraudulent intention." End of quote.
We have pointed out to Mr. President Buhari and Tinubu that some public officials are diverting public taxpayers' money into their own personal accounts in the name of project accounts. And we suggested to the government to block those leakages.
A letter was sent to the Accountant General Office that is ought to not has happened, because that is a program, that is a project. The project is self-accounted. All they needed to do is to do that, follow the procedures. And just so you know, it's illegal for that amount of money to be sent to a staff.
Despite claims by the minister that the payment had followed laid-down procedures with approval from the presidency and the Accountant General, which has been denied, the suspension of the minister by the president has also received public commendation.
If you allow her to stay there now, there's some certain file that will be hiding. If he knows that you are going to public office for your personal interest, you should leave public office for somebody that can do well for the common masses. What this new government are doing is right.
To everyone that have intention to do such acts, it's not encouraging, but the suspension came immediately and is a very good one.
Advocates are also calling for the investigation to be extended to other government ministries and agencies, urging governments not to interfere in the investigations.
This problem is not only in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. It is a problem that you see in many government agencies, because people don't respect the rules.
Around the scandal we're talking about, a minister pointed a paper, that's the Minister of Interior, saying he has resigned from a company 5 years ago, but the company is being awarded to monitor and stuff like that.
While the federal government has received rave reviews for its quick intervention in suspending the embattled minister, Nigerians are hoping that the investigations will be thorough and justice will not be swept under the carpet. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
In a related development, President Bola Tinubu has summoned the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, to the presidential villa. This is coming in the wake of his link to the alleged fraud involving the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Betta Edu. According to reports, the Edu-led ministry awarded a consultancy contract to the tune of 438 million naira for the National Social Register to New Planet Projects Limited, a company allegedly owned by Tunji Ojo. However, Minister Tunji Ojo has denied ownership of the company, saying he founded it 10 years ago but resigned from directorship in 2019 when he contested for House of Representatives. The Minister of Interior, who describes the report as shocking, said he is just a shareholder in the company and not involved in the day-to-day running of New Planet Project Limited. To further discuss this, I'm joined by a public affairs analyst, Awal Rasfajani. Thank you very much, Awal, for giving us your time. Minister Ojo agrees he founded New Planet Project Limited, but he says he resigned 2019. In your view, what measures exist to prevent conflict of interest when government officials are linked to companies that engage in government contracts? Awal, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you. Did you get my question?
Thank you. Yes, I had.
Okay, go ahead with your response, please.
Yes, I'm saying that many public officials, sometimes they deliberately conduct themselves in a manner that is clearly a breach on protocols, rules, and regulation, simply because of the impunity in the country. You will definitely know that as a minister, you know, there's what is called conflict of interest. There are certain things you must not do. So even though you have resigned as a director in that company, your wife is still a director in that company. Secondly, you know definitely with their influence as a minister, you can easily get contract, you know, because there's no way as a minister you will approach another sister ministry for a payable, you know, to your wife, since many of the government officials are not even respecting, you know, public procurement law. Because ideally, if the public procurement law is working, there's no way you would have just, you know, have this kind of experience. So I think Nigerian officials need to understand their limit. When you are given public trust, any position you are given is a public trust. You must not use it for your personal gain at the expense of public.
If I'm to understand what you're saying, Awal, are you telling us that the clarification given by Minister Tunji Ojo is not enough in the context of his position as a public official? What more could he have done to totally disengage from the project for people to accept that he is no longer liable?
I mean, instead of this denial and dismissal and disassociation, you know, disassociating himself from this, what I expected him to do is to probably simply apologize to the nation for the fact that he knows that there's a conflict of interest. And that is why we've been pushing for beneficial ownership register in Nigeria. Because when you have beneficial ownership register and when you comply with the public procurement law, you would have been able to at least prevent this kind of situation from happening. So I don't think the minister will claim that there's no breach of, you know, public interest here. He knows that his wife is still a director and they are running that company, and directly or indirectly, even though he has resigned for the purpose of him contesting the election in 2019, definitely, you know, the dividend of that company, the connection, the networks, still, still plays the role to get.
If you can hear me a while, the connection is breaking a bit. So I'm just going to add a quick question and see if you could respond at a stretch without it breaking. There is talk about the president's involvement in addressing the scandal. First off, how will you address the speediness of his response, not only to this case, but that of Betta Edu, and how, in your view, is his action impacting accountability and the integrity of his government?
So really, the absence of public integrity in governance in Nigeria is becoming very, very clear every now and then. And, there's no way we can continue to run our system in this manner that clearly breach public trust, public, accountability, also our rules that clearly, did not support this kind.
All right, well, I'm afraid we'll have to leave the conversation there. The connection isn't so great, and we cannot afford to continue to strain our viewers. Thank you very much for your time. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has granted administrative bail to former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Umar Farouk, after grilling her for over 12 hours on Monday. The former minister, who was grilled in the presence of her lawyer at the EFCC headquarters in Abuja, was asked to write a statement explaining her relationship with a contractor, James Okwete, over the disbursement of the sum of 37,170,855,753 naira and 44 kobo paid into his bank accounts through agencies domiciled in the ministry. The former minister was shown documents revealing how the monies were moved into several bank accounts belonging to or connected with Okwete during the interrogation. However, Sadiya has been mandated to report to the commission every day from Tuesday. Let's talk security matters now. Chairman of the Jama'atu Nasrul Islam in Plateau State, Muhammadu Sambo, has restated the support and encouragement of the Muslim Ummah in the state to the government of Governor Caleb Mutfwang. Muhammad Sambo was speaking when he led members of the group on a courtesy call to commiserate with the governor on the Christmas Eve attacks that left scores of people dead, many wounded, with lots of property destroyed. News Center's Chizoba Anyowe tells us more.
Joining other well-meaning Nigerians to condole with the governor on the attacks by unknown gunmen on the eve of Christmas in the state was the Emir of Wase with his entourage. The Emir expressed regret that despite the reoccurring incidents for over 2 decades and counting, no groups nor persons has been held accountable for the crimes. He maintained that with a spirit of forgiveness and togetherness, Plateau will rise again.
Your Excellency, you are ours. Your government is ours. And we stand with you and by you through thick and thin. We condemn in totality what has happened in Plateau State and what is happening in some parts of Nigeria. I want to assure you that the Muslim Ummah in Plateau are behind you, 99.9%. Because we have 1 or 2 people within us, some bad eggs, which is obtainable everywhere.
If the rule of law is anything to go by, then citizens must abide by the tenets of the guiding principles of the land.
All the enemies of peace will not survive on the platform. We will join our hands together and ensure that those people who do not want us to live in peace, that they first of all do not find peace. So we are going to ensure that arrests are made, prosecutions are done, convictions are upheld, and that we will be able to show the rest of the criminals that criminality does not pay. That is where we are going. We are going to uphold the rule of law and ensure that nobody is above the law. Some of the suggestions made by His Royal Highness will revisit them. Nobody should be bigger than any community. Everybody must belong to the community.
The governor further restated his administration's determination to continually engage everyone, irrespective of their socio-cultural divides, for the betterment of the state. In Jos for News Central, I am Chizoba Anyowe.
In the meantime, over 30 people have been reportedly abducted by bandits who attacked travelers on the Abuja-Kaduna highway on Sunday. The abduction allegedly took place at Dongofili near Katari along the Kaduna-Abuja highway in Kachia local government area of Benue State. A former lawmaker, Senator Shehu Sani, who confirmed the attack on his X page, disclosed that two of his friends narrowly escaped being kidnapped by the bandits. He added that the bandits blocked the road and operated for some time, even though there were more security operatives on the road than there used to be in the past. According to reports, the bandits, who divided themselves into two groups, also invaded Bishini and Kokore communities located along Abuja-Kaduna Highway and also whisked away an unspecified number of villagers. This is the first time in more than 10 months when the security along the Abuja-Kaduna road was breached. We'll go on a short break. Niger Tonight continues right after.
For decades, the Niger Delta oil-producing region has suffered losses from oil theft and pipeline vandalism, which has led to Nigeria losing billions of foreign exchange worth of crude. But with the engagement of Tantita Security Services, pipeline vandalism and oil theft has reduced significantly. Tantita Security Services is an internationally recognized security outfit based in Delta State. Tantita specializes in providing professional security solutions to the oil and gas industry through a strategic partnership with the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited (NNPCL), with over 1,000 plus field agents, 30 plus operational and combat boats, 10 ground-to-air drones. Tantita is changing the narrative around security in the Niger Delta. Tantita Security Services, dedicated to putting an end to oil theft in the Niger Delta.
I love to make a difference as a journalist because when you speak to the situation or the people affected, that's when you get the full story.
And so we go all out. The protest was ongoing and it was peaceful across the plains for real-time stories.
And it was the longest bridge until the 6th of October bridge was completed in Cairo, Egypt.
Knee on knee. This is News Central.
Publisher Security Digest, Chidi Omeje, joins me now to take a look at the developing story coming out of the Abuja-Kaduna highway. Thank you very much for giving us your time. Quickly, what specific security measures can be implemented to prevent further bandit attacks on that highway, considering how strategic it is and, of course, the frequency of such incidents?
Thank you for having me. I think that that particular route is something that the federal government have to prioritize now, because for just a little while we had some respite on that axis, but now we're hearing that they have resumed the attacks. It's quite embarrassing. It's something that the federal government should be concerned about. But back to your question, I think that. What needs to be done is to ensure that the military are back on that axis. The joint task force, so that we'll be able to have robust security along the road. Because the other time we had attack on the rail line, and then people were in a very terrible situation. So now that they have resumed these attacks, government must prioritize it. They must deploy more soldiers, foot on the ground, to ensure that it's protected. But then, of course, we have to think about technology-driven security efforts. How about if we deploy drones to provide us with some level of intelligence? How about if we, put services like Civil Defense Corps, the Nigeria Police, then of course the intelligence aspect of the government.
But that report suggests that there is an increased number of security officials on that highway, and it's been 10 months actually since there was a reported case on it. I guess I'm asking you, how can intelligence gathering and information sharing between security agencies be enhanced so that they can proactively identify and counter potential threats before it actually happens?
Very good question. I think at this point in time, there has to be the collaboration of the communities around that axis. People should be able to see something and say something. Should be able to report some of report some things they see, because there's no the guys who are doing these things are not spirits; they're human beings, and they spring up from somewhere. People should be able to alert the security forces. But then again, you know that you have a lot of ungoverned spaces along that route. There are a lot of forest areas and some kind of bushes that they could be springing up from. So, but I'm trying to say that the people have a role to play. People should be able to see something and say something. And then, of course, the security guys need to be more intentional in doing this thing, because this is very, very embarrassing that such important route is being bedeviled by insecurity to this level. To me, it calls for concern, and I can say that people should be able to collaborate with security agencies and to be able to help them with information whenever they see anything.
In the light of these recent attacks, from your vantage point, what strategies would you suggest to be employed to secure and patrol the highway more efficiently?
Well, I've talked about the issue of deploying more boots on ground, but you said already it's been done. So things like this are actually intelligence-based. So since this is quite asymmetric, it's not something that it's not quite defined where they come from, or who are the combatants, who are the who carry out this stuff. So since it's about people springing up from nowhere, it has to be intelligence-driven. So the only thing we can do is to reinforce our intelligence gathering effort. Human intelligence report, technology-driven intelligence report, and every other thing that will help provide information to the security guys around. Because there's no way you can actually deploy security men in the entire stretch of that road. So the only thing is to make sure that the ones around available are able to have information at a go. So that's the first thing to do. That's my concern, really.
Talking about technological solutions, you're saying that they can provide a surveillance system to monitor the entire stretch of that road. Wouldn't that be a good thing? Hasn't Nigeria evolved to that elevated point where we can actually effectively use technology to help our security agents?
Why should we be lagging behind? And the world has gone beyond this level that we are operating. We have the wherewithal to deploy drones, for instance. Drones can fly and give us information. You have a situation where people are being kidnapped on a daily basis, people are being killed on a daily basis, and why would you prioritize that? Why are we more concerned about other issues other than security? Which one is more important? If we devote substantial amount of our budget into this kind of drone or technology to help us resolve the issue, it's not too much to ask for, because we are talking about human beings here. We're talking about the fact that people are being attacked on a daily basis, people are being kidnapped, people are being killed. So why would we prioritize that? Why would we actually put our money where our money is. So I don't think it's such a big deal. Other countries are doing that. Why can't we do that? We have all it takes, for goodness sake.
I guess the federal government has its task cut out clearly. Thank you very much, Chidi, for speaking with us.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
You're watching Nigeria Tonight on News Central. Coming up, FG launches investigation into issuance of fake degrees. We have details after the break. Join us again.
Right.
If you've just joined us, you're watching Nigeria Tonight. A reminder of our top stories. President Tinubu reduces travel expenses by 60%. President Tinubu summons Interior Minister Tunji Ojo fingered in palliative fund scandal. FG orders probe of Nigerian private universities. The Bayelsa state government has called for the cancellation of pipeline surveillance contracts given to private companies and individuals. The state deputy governor, while receiving the chief of naval staff at the government house in Yenagoa, says that the contracts will empower non-state actors, thereby increasing insecurity in the state. He says government must have a rethink of the policy on pipeline protection in the interest of public peace and security.
It holds a lot of resources in the maritime environment, talking about fisheries resources, talking about offshore oil and gas platforms that domicile within the maritime environment. Now, the protection of these assets forms part of the cardinal responsibility of the Nigerian Navy. We have done that to our best, to such an extent that oil production has been on the rise. We want to seek the support of the people also to continue to cooperate with us, particularly in the area of providing intelligence, in the area of providing information that will enable us to turn the tide against those criminals who are hell-bent on distorting the nation's economy.
We do not believe that non-state actors are in best position to protect our maritime assets and facilities. We believe that what we are doing currently, we are inadvertently releasing militias who are not coordinated and supervised. We have had incidents of these people in the name of protecting oil contracts, raid our communities and molest people and molest our wives and children, and even sack some communities in the name of they are going there to look for. And not they are even going there to look for oil bunkers, because one or two persons insulted them. And I want to insist that the Navy must be allowed to play that role, and exclusively that role. You will be surprised that we'll get to a point these people, non-state actors, will now try to challenge us.
In the meantime, the governor of Delta State, South Nigeria, Sheriff Oborowori, has presented Certificate of Occupancy, CFO, for 3,747 hectares of land to the Nigerian Navy for its forward operation base in Escravos, Warri Southwest local government area of the state. Governor Oborowori made the presentation to the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, and his delegation to the government house at the government house, Asaba. Speaking during the courtesy visit, the governor commended the Nigerian Navy and other security agencies for their support and cooperation to the government and people of the state. Earlier, Vice Admiral Ogala thanked the governor, the government and people of Delta State for their support to the Navy, assuring that it would continue to ensure security of the nation's oil assets for optimum production.
That Delta States, that we are very happy with your operation here. What you experience here, the peace you experience here, if you go to other waterways outside this state, is quite different. You cannot go to all those waterways without going with a gun boot. But in our waterways here, you can go without even security. The place is safe because of the good work people are doing. People have improved a lot. We want more improvement. Security cannot be 100%, but we are doing our best. The state government is doing the best. One good news that you will take home today is this. When I received the message that you are coming here for a courtesy call today, I called the Commissioner for Lands. I said, Commissioner for Land, we have land already secured for the Nigerian Navy, 3,474 hectares of land. I want that CFO immediately. So I gave an approval and a waiver for waiver. And as we speak, the CFO is here. I'm going to present the CFO to you.
That is to say that security now is being looked at from the point of view of whole of society approach. A whole of society approach means that every citizen contributes to the security of his own area. And in this area, we want to continue to seek the support and collaboration of the host communities and people of Delta State in providing us the information and all the support that we will need in order to be able to turn the tide against these criminals. Because this is the mandate which we have been given, and we have no other option but to deliver on that mandate.
And to one of our top stories tonight. The federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Education, has set up a committee to look into the activities of private universities established in the last 15 years. The Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, made the disclosure on Tuesday during the inauguration of the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Degree Mills in the country. He noted that the essence of the directive is to ensure that the private institutions under investigation have the prescribed facility, adequate management structure, and adequate funding programs, among the others, in place. The minister added that the Inter-Ministerial Committee set up to look into the activities of illegal universities will also examine the veracity of the allegations of degree certificate racketeering within both foreign and local private universities in Nigeria. A short break. The news continues afterwards. Stay with us.
For decades, the Niger Delta oil-producing region has suffered losses from oil theft and pipeline vandalism, which has led to Nigeria losing billions of foreign exchange worth of crude. But with the engagement of Tantita Security Services, pipeline vandalism and oil theft has reduced significantly. Tantita Security Services is an internationally recognized security outfit based in Delta State. Tantita specializes in providing professional security solutions to the oil and gas industry through a strategic partnership with the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL, with over 1,000 plus field agents, 30 plus operational and combat boats, 10 ground-to-air drones. Tantita is changing the narrative around security in the Niger Delta. Tantita Security Services, dedicated to putting an end to oil theft in the Niger Delta.
Farmers in Nigeria's northeastern state of Borno have called for improved security and continuous support from government, saying this will help them improve their productivity. This was as 250 selected dry season farmers were empowered with agricultural inputs and equipment to boost their farming. News Centre's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
The change in rainfall pattern and subsequent low agricultural production in recent years has left farmers with no any other option than wet season farming. The cost of equipment, fertilizer and other input for irrigation is another issue for most farmers in Borno State, who are struggling to survive the brunt of the insurgency in the region.
The glory of Almighty Allah
The Borno State government and Fadama NGKS are here to equip some farmers with improved seeds, fertilizers, machinery and other necessary resources to enhance their farming.
Dosor barenyen, ataruku barenyen, gualto barenyen, chankafa barenyen, alhamdulillah kliwar wolonen arum barenyen gauli barenyen.
Da wannan lokacin da muka haramta ya muna ban ma noma din ba mu samu komai amma yanzu har mun samu lafiya muna ta noma da noma kuma yana mana amfani.
Experts in the agricultural value chain say the importance of efficient farming techniques and the utilization of the modern tools for increased productivity has become apt.
A total of 3,490 farmers have been selected across the 13 LGAs of Borno State, who will also benefit from both the agricultural asset and farm input support. The agricultural asset were meant to enhance production and value addition of community level, will also be given 85 clusters of 4 people each, totaling 340 beneficiaries.
Let's move forward with a vision of agriculture that is not only productive but also environmentally responsible. Our actions today will shape the future of agriculture when we pursue sustainable development, ensuring our agricultural practices align with needs of our environment.
The move by the government is believed to be able to revive the agricultural sector in the state and boost the livelihoods of residents.
We want to make optimal use of the available land. When well harnessed, it will definitely address food shortages, not in the state, but in the northeast in general.
Farmers have expressed their determination and enthusiasm to maximize the benefits of the distributed resources, but they urge government to improve the insecurity situation in the region. In Maiduguri for News Central, I am Umaru Kirawa.
NGX upward trend continues as the all-share index surpasses 83,000 points, marking the highest single-day gain since June 13, 2023. The index rose by 3.57%, gaining 2,867.31 points, reaching a total of 83,191.84 points. This milestone follows the previous day's crossing of the 80,000 mark. The market capitalization increased by 3.57% to 45.524 trillion naira, a gain of about 1.567 trillion. Noteworthy gainers include FBN Holdings, which surged by 10% to re-enter the SWOOT category, along with consumer goods giants Unilever and Cadbury, each experiencing a 10% gain. To further discuss this, I'm joined by MD Trust Bank Asset Management, Aziz Lawal. Thank you very much for giving us your time. The NGS bullish run, which started in mid-2023, isn't showing any sign of slowing down. However, some analysts say this might change soon. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, so some analysts say this might change soon. It's a very familiar rhetoric that we've been hearing since around August, when, like rightly noted, the rally started mid 2023, and 2 months afterwards, there's been popular comments that the market may slow down or weaken. But what we've seen is that the performance has strengthened further. Like we saw for full year last year, Nigeria's equity market did close to 50%. And the projection coming into the new year is that from the first week of the new year in 2024, investors' appetite may kind of weaken and sentiment may dive into the negative region. But what we've seen in the last 6 trading days is that, those sentiments are even getting stronger. So we expect that upbeat to persist. Possibly in another 1 or 2 days, you may see investors taking profits, but we do not expect this current positive run to go into the negative region. We expect the gain to extend. Thank you.
What sentiments are responsible for this continued rally?
Yeah, like I mentioned, so aside from the fact that we've seen a renewed interest in selected securities, we've particularly seen intensified interest in banking stocks as majorly institutional investors are beginning to position for full year dividend payment and anticipating the full year financials of these banks. We particularly believe that pension fund administrators may be interested in banking stocks, and that may have been responsible for the gains we've seen in the last couple of days. The banking index alone today did over 8%, right? And we expect that to persist, though it may moderate in the coming days, and possibly you may see light profit taking here and there. But we expect this positive sentiment to persist over a long period of time. Thank you.
For investors and traders seeking to hedge against uninspiring macroeconomic indicators, what stocks or indexes should they watch out for?
Yeah, thank you. So that's there are a lot of moving parts typically for the equity market and for stocks. Typically, for investors who may want to edge their position against current macroeconomic challenges, particularly, you typically want to look at inflation. Where can you find returns that will protect you against inflation? Though it's equity market, there are no guarantees. But from what we've seen since the turn of the year, there are still stocks that may be discounted to their prices and possibly can provide the kind of gain that will protect investors against macroeconomic challenges. There are still some very decent stocks in the banking industry that may provide a kind of dividend that will give a strong yield over looking at the 1 year horizon. So banking stocks are decent. We've also seen some conglomerates who can provide a kind of return that may buffer the challenges, may serve as a strength or buffer against the macroeconomic challenges that we're seeing. Again, typically is equity. There are no guarantees. That's why we always advise that if you're going into the equity market, always talk to your investment advisor or stockbrokers.
A company's financial results should be out within the next few weeks. What impact will this have on the market?
Yeah, like we've seen already, anticipation of those results alone are the ones really majorly driving this result, this performance. So anticipation, for banking stocks, we are looking at months, right? Possibly from late March, we may start seeing banking results. But like you said, in a couple of weeks, we'll start seeing results of some companies. Typically, anticipation of full year results of companies typically drive positive sentiment in the market. And we expect that, like I mentioned, to persist. Though in between, we may see moderation in positive performance. We may see even the market will possibly lose for some days. But over a long period of time, between now and March, we expect that the all-share index will still remain positive. Thank you.
All right, Aziz, thank you for speaking with us. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
The iconic Third Mainland Bridge in Lagos has now been strategically closed to traffic and will remain so for between 3 to 4 months. The bridge, which is the major of 3 that connects commuters heading from the mainland to the island and vice versa, will be undergoing major rehabilitation work during this period. News Centre's Bernard Akede witnessed the closure and filed in this report.
In November 2023, a portion of the bridge was closed to traffic for some repairs, but was later reopened on December 21st to ease traffic during the Yuletide period. This time, it's the main thing. Both sides of the bridge will be strategically closed at certain times of the day for major rehabilitation work. At about 12:40 p.m., an entourage of officials arrived at the Iyanaworo axis of the bridge to commence the official closure and give the needed information. The entourage then proceeded on a more than 1 kilometer walk to the junction just before the Third Mainland Bridge, where the traffic from Ogudu splits up to those going to Oshodi-Apapa Expressway and those going to the island via the Third Mainland Bridge. And there, they addressed the media.
The scope of works includes the milling of the existing asphalt. All the existing asphalt you're looking at, from that point of diversion, we will mill them off, everything. And then we'll replace the defective expansion joints that have been identified. Some expansion joints have been identified as being defective. We're going to remove them and then we'll replace them.
We have well over 250 men from last month. Even the GM last month is there present. The whole idea is to ensure that, yes, there will be some bit of discomfort, like Mrs. Keisha said, but we'll ensure that we'll make it as less stressful as possible.
The repair work that will be done on the bridge is supposed to last between 5 and 15 years if properly maintained, before thinking of another major rehabilitation.
Motorists will no longer have access here until 12 a.m. in the night. So when we block it now, traffic will be diverted to Bagada. So they can use Bagada, Antony, and Ikorodu Road, Western Avenue, Kata or Iko Bridge to the island. And tomorrow, by 12 p.m. noon, we'll be doing the same thing, blocking this place. It means that people who are going to the island will no longer be able to use this going forward by after 12 noon for the next 6, 7, 8 weeks.
The Lagos State Commissioner of Police was also around to assure Lagos road users that the police will ensure utmost security and maintain law and order during this uncomfortable period, but they will require the full cooperation and support of commuters.
Our men will be here to control traffic, also not only to control manage traffic, but to ensure that no form of robbery or attack to motorists. We are going to secure the road effectively because we know there will be long stretch of traffic.
The Commissioner of Police has already told us the kind of collaboration we're going to put in place. There's going to be 24 hours observatory. There's going to be enforcement. There's going to be guide for motorists. We want just to enjoin motorists to please be patient and obey every traffic rule and the traffic managers on the road.
And so commences the first 6 to 8 weeks of rehabilitation work on the Third Mainland Bridge, starting from this axis, Iyanaworo-Bega axis, up all the way down to the end of the bridge into the island. And then after not more than 8 weeks, the work transfers to the other side of the bridge. That's the side coming from the island down to the mainland. It definitely is going to be a 4 months period of discomfort and inconvenience for users of this axis of Lagos. But the hope and the prayer of all Lagosians using this route is that after rehabilitation work is concluded, the bridge will be a lot better and commuters will be happier using this bridge. From Lagos for News Central, I am Bernard Akede.
In sports, Nigeria's boxing sensation Elizabeth Oshoba will battle Michelle Braga for a chance to win the WBC belt on Saturday. Favor Itwa has more.
In sport, Nigerian boxer Elizabeth Oshoba is set to battle Italian boxer Michelle Braga on January 13th at the Royal Arena in Copenhagen, Denmark, for the WBC silver featherweight title. This makes a clash against Braga her fourth fight in 11 months as she aims to become the first female Nigerian world champion in boxing. In the amateurs, Oshoba won the 2022 Commonwealth Games silver medal before switching to pro, where she had been perfect, winning all her 6 professional bouts, half of the victories coming by way of knockout, and is ranked number 1 in Nigeria and 7th in the world according to Box Rec among super featherweights. Braga also has a perfect pro career, winning all 6 of her fights, and although she has never won any by knockout, the 33-year-old is a threat in the ring. She is ranked number 2 in Italy and 24 in the world among featherweights. Best of luck to Oshogba. Now to the world of football. The management of Kano Pillars have appealed the sanctions meted on them by the Nigerian Premier Football League. The hammer of the league board fell on the same Mesugida boys for the unruly behavior of their fans in the game against Plateau United. The club was fined 2,250,000 naira for disturbances. The disturbances led to delay in transmission of a live broadcast as well as the throwing of objects in the pitch in protest of the decision of the match official during his Week 17 Premier League match against visiting Plateau United at the Sani Abacha Kofamata Kano Stadium. Kano Pillars have, however, condemned the act in totality as they then joined the committee to look at the issue again as they hope to get a favorable hearing. And to wrap up sports update, Lagos-based club Robo Queens made it a double in the Nigeria Women Football League monthly awards for December. Fast-rising Folashade Ijamilusi picked up the Player of the Month award after netting 6 goals for Robo in the league. Ijamilusi's goals were instrumental in Robo's push into the playoff position of the competition standings. To end the award, the players saw challenges from Blessing Okpe, Nkiru Nwauke, Sylvia Echefu. In the coaches category, Robo Queens gaffer Emmanuel Osahon smiled home with the award. Osahon oversaw Robo's exceptional performances in the month under review. The NWFL is back in full swing on Wednesday after a 2-week festive break, with Robo Queens battling former champions Rivers Angels at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena. That wraps it up on Sports Update. I am Favor Itua.
And that's all tonight, but before we go, let's take another look at some of the big stories. President Tinubu has reduced travel expenses by 60%. President Tinubu has summoned Interior Minister Tunji Ojo fingered in palliative fund scandal. We also told you that the federal government has ordered probe of Nigerian private universities over issuance of fake degree. Please send your eyewitness reports to the number showing now on your screen. You can also follow us on social media at News Central TV. You can watch live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV and on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching. Good night.